On his first voyage, Sinbad and his crew set sail from Baghdad, filled with excitement and hope for new lands and untold treasures. After days of drifting at sea, they spotted a beautiful island on the horizon. The island seemed like paradise, with lush green trees and soft, white sandy shores. They quickly anchored and disembarked, resting on the island, lighting a fire, and enjoying the untouched beauty of nature. However, Sinbad, with his seasoned experience, began to sense something amiss. The wind turned stifling, and the ground beneath their feet trembled slightly. Suddenly, a terrifying rumble echoed from deep within the earth. The ground beneath them began to move violently. In a moment of horror, the crew realized that the island was not land but the back of a colossal whale. The campfire they had built on its skin had woken the beast. The whale let out a roar like a thunderstorm, thrashing furiously, sending massive waves crashing into the sky. Sinbad shouted for the crew to run back to the ship, but in the chaos, many were thrown into the sea. Sinbad, quick and decisive, tried to save his comrades, but the massive whale had already plunged deep into the water, dragging the unfortunate men into the dark abyss of the ocean. Sinbad thought this might be the end, but even in despair, he held on to hope, gripping the wooden plank as he floated aimlessly across the raging sea. After days of drifting, exhausted and starving, Sinbad awoke to find himself washed ashore on another island. With his last ounce of strength, he crawled onto land, where he was fortunately found by a group of merchants. They took him back to Baghdad safely, and from then on, Sinbad began recounting his thrilling adventure about the island of the whale to anyone who would listen, marking the beginning of many more dangerous journeys yet to come. After surviving the wrath of the sea in his first journey, Sinbad did not hesitate to embark on his second adventure. This time, he and his crew landed on what seemed like a peaceful and beautiful island. While exploring the area, Sinbad came across a gigantic nest with a massive egg resting in the center. Curiosity piqued. He approached and realized that it was the egg of the roc, the legendary bird said to be able to lift elephants into the sky. As the sun cast its light on the egg, suddenly, a colossal shadow fell across the land. Sinbad looked up and saw the roc, its enormous wings spanning the heavens. With unimaginable strength, the roc swooped down to retrieve its egg. Amidst the chaos, Sinbad grabbed onto one of the roc's legs just as it took off into the sky. Swept along by the giant bird, Sinbad found himself soaring above oceans and treacherous mountain ranges. When the roc finally landed in a remote valley, Sinbad leapt down, escaping its grasp. But what awaited him below was even more terrifying. The valley was infested with giant snakes, so large they could swallow an elephant whole in a single gulp. The snakes slithered all around, hissing menacingly as they searched for prey. But that was not all. Sinbad saw countless diamonds sparkling in the sunlight, scattered across the valley floor. However, gathering these precious gems was no simple task, as the giant snakes guarded them fiercely. While he was contemplating a plan, nearby merchants on the island threw sheep carcasses into the valley. The diamonds stuck to the wall of the carcasses, and soon after, gigantic eagles would swoop down to carry the sheep back to their nests. With quick wit, Sinbad tied himself to one of the carcasses and waited. When the eagles came down and lifted the carcass, he was carried into the sky once again. After escaping safely, Sinbad returned with a bounty of diamonds and continued his journey back to Baghdad, carrying with him the harrowing tale of the rock bird and the Valley of Snakes.
The third adventure, the Cyclops Giant. In Sinbad's perilous third journey, he and his crew were caught in the violent storm. Their ship destroyed by massive waves. After the storm subsided, they were cast ashore on a desolate island, mysterious and filled with lurking dangers. As they explored this unfamiliar land, they were unexpectedly captured by a Cyclops giant, a massive creature with one eye, towering muscles, and immense strength. The Cyclops imprisoned them in a vast cave, where it ate several of the sailors alive. Sinbad, with his sharp mind, devised a plan to escape the terrifying captivity. While the Cyclops slept, Sinbad and the surviving crew used a large wooden stake, heated in fire, and stabbed the Cyclops in its eye, blinding the creature. In agony and panic, the Cyclops tried to capture them, but being blinded, it couldn't see, allowing Sinbad's group to escape. By cleverly exploiting the darkness and confusion, Sinbad led his surviving sailors away from the deadly island, continuing their adventures at sea, though even greater challenges awaited them beyond the horizon. The fourth adventure of Sinbad, the Old Woman and the Deadly Ritual. In his fourth adventure, Sinbad and his crew once again found themselves at the mercy of the violent sea. Their ship was caught in the fierce storm and drifted to a mysterious island. Sinbad encountered a mysterious old woman with a haggard face, dressed in tattered clothes, her eyes dark and foreboding. She invited Sinbad and the sailors to rest in a small village. Sinbad noticed that aside from the old woman and a few shadowy figures, the village was void of life. That night, the old woman began performing a disturbing ritual, invoking ancient dark magic. She summoned spirits, and a heavy darkness fell over the area, transforming the remaining sailors into soulless beings. Realizing the danger, Sinbad tried to escape the ritual. The old woman revealed that it was a deadly ceremony, where those lured to the island were fated to become victims of her dark powers. She attempted to use her magic to capture Sinbad, but with his intelligence and bravery, Sinbad managed to break the magical circle. He used a talisman he had obtained from a sorcerer in the previous adventure, which destroyed the old woman's power and freed himself and his crew. They fled the haunted island, but the experience left Sinbad with an eerie feeling, a lingering dread about what other dark secrets might be lurking out there in the unfamiliar lands he was yet to discover. The fifth adventure of Sinbad, the Rockbird and the Monkey Horde. After many life-threatening adventures, Sinbad once again embarked on a new journey, filled with excitement but also hidden dangers. This time, his ship reached a lush island, with thick forests surrounding them, and birds singing as if welcoming the crew. As they ventured deeper into the forest, a horde of aggressive monkeys descended from the trees, surrounding and attacking the crew. These large monkeys, with red, glowing eyes and fierce growls, swiftly looted, stealing the sailors' food and water supplies. Sinbad and his crew were pushed into a desperate defense, fighting to protect their ship. Just when it seemed like they couldn't hold out any longer, the sky suddenly darkened, and a piercing screech echoed through the air. A giant rock bird, the legendary bird whose wings could blot out the sun, swooped down from above. With its razor-sharp talons and terrifying speed, it attacked the monkeys, slamming them to the ground and carrying them off into the forest. Sinbad's group, stunned and unable to believe their eyes, realized that the rock had saved their lives in the nick of time. However, the danger wasn't over. The rock shifted its attention toward the sailors, sinking quickly. Sinbad used a treasure chest from a previous journey to distract the rock, throwing it to the ground and causing the bird to fly after it. Was the rock distracted? Sinbad and the crew swiftly escaped the island before it could return for revenge. This adventure left Sinbad and his crew filled with both fear and gratitude, realizing that sometimes danger comes from the smallest of creatures like monkeys, but salvation can come from the most unimaginable of giants. The sixth adventure of Sinbad, the Old Man of the Sea. In his sixth journey, after his ship was caught in the storm and drifted to an unfamiliar island, Sinbad landed on the shore and began exploring. On the island, he encountered an old mysterious man. The man appeared frail and pitiful, begging Sinbad to help him cross a small stream. Out of compassion, Sinbad agreed and allowed the old man to climb onto his back. However, the moment the old man climbed on, he used an uncanny strength, tightening his legs around Sinbad's neck, refusing to let go. All of Sinbad's efforts to shake him off were in vain. The old man forced Sinbad to carry him around the island, not allowing him to rest or eat, with legs as strong as iron clamps. The old man enslaved Sinbad, forcing him to endure extreme fatigue and exhaustion. The man was not just a physical foe but a symbol of mental and physical oppression, slowly draining Sinbad's hope. Finally, after days of suffering, Sinbad devised a plan. He found some fermented fruit on the island and tricked the old man into drinking it, causing him to become intoxicated and lose his vigilance. As the old man began to sway and loosen his iron grip, Sinbad immediately broke free and used all his strength to push the old man to the ground. Seizing the rare opportunity, Sinbad quickly fled, escaping from the cruel bondage, leaving the island behind. Sinbad realized that not all dangers come from giant creatures or raging storms. Sometimes, the most dangerous enemies are those who silently seize control of both body and mind. The seventh adventure, meeting the King of Serendib. After many dangerous adventures, Sinbad embarked on another journey to a distant land called Serendib, where he had heard tales of the endless wealth of the mighty king who ruled there. As his ship docked, a magnificent sight greeted Sinbad's eyes. Golden towers gleaming, roads paved with gemstones, and numerous palatial buildings that sparkled under the sun. This land was said to hold great treasures and the most extraordinary wonders in the world. The King of Serendib, having heard of Sinbad's legendary exploits, invited him to the palace. Sinbad could hardly believe his eyes. The walls were covered in gold, ceilings adorned with glittering diamonds, and precious jewels scattered everywhere. The King of Serendib, dressed in opulent garments, with a crown encrusted with gems, sat on a throne made of rubies and emeralds. Even the utensils on the king's table were made of solid gold and fine silver. He invited Sinbad to a royal ceremony where he was presented with priceless gifts. A necklace studded with jewels, a sword crafted from pure gold and diamonds. However, Sinbad soon realized that this land was not only filled with gold and jewels, but also hidden dangers. On one occasion, after leaving the palace, he was targeted by a group of thieves due to the treasures he possessed. Sinbad had to use all his skills to fend them off and escape danger. After this ordeal, he understood that despite the immense wealth and power of the king of Serendib, in this world, dangers and challenges still lurk around every corner. Finally, Sinbad decided to leave Serendib, taking with him precious treasures as a token of this legendary journey. He continued his adventures at sea, knowing that the true treasures were not just gold and jewels, but also the experiences and lessons learned from each voyage. The seventh adventure of Sinbad is filled with not only magnificent wealth but also hidden dangers, reminding readers that every great fortune comes with its own set of challenges.